Many people have been a part of this amazing story over the years. Parkerville Children and Youth Care opened Australia's first child advocacy centre in Armidale, named after one of the organisation's many modern-day heroes, George Jones. For the past 110 years, this not-for-profit organisation has operated heroically, often without government support, to seek innovative ways to respond to the needs of those children, young people and families affected by trauma from abuse. Through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, boom times and the global financial crisis, many key figures have contributed to this great legacy of care. It started when Sister Kate and Sister Jane arrived in Western Australia from the United Kingdom with 22 orphan children. They immediately set out to find a place where they could ensure the children grew to their maximum potential, free from cruelty and deprivation. Using funds from Sister Kate's family and friends in the UK, they eventually found and purchased an 18-acre block of land with a single hut and barn in the Parkerville bush for £280. Life, however, wasn't easy. On May 5th, 1903, the 2 sisters and 6 boys spent their first night in the barn.
That first night, I shall never forget it. The barn had a bark roof and down came the rain as only it can out here. We placed old newspapers and basins everywhere and kept as dry as we could until the blessed dawn came to our aid. Out hopped the boys and we followed suit. Sister Jane asked the boys to light a fire and we all had a cup of tea. Blankets, rugs, clothes all came out. I remarked that we indeed looked like the gypsies. All around us, wet garments hung from the bush.
Although commonly referred to as the Waifs Home, at Sister Kate's instigation, the organisation soon became known as Parkerville Children's Home and quickly became inundated with unwanted and vulnerable children. But there were no funds. Still, the children were provided with love and care and as normal an upbringing as the situation would allow. The Hope report into an infamous baby farming case where children were bought, sold and brutally murdered led to the formation of the Child Protection Society. Enter Walter Padbury, whose generosity was probably the prime reason for the home surviving the first decade of its existence. It was through his continuous appeals to the Governor that the State Children's Act 1907 was legislated 6 months after his death. When the Great War broke out in 1914, all but one of the original orphan boys joined up. Sadly, 6 did not return. The Parkerville Children and Youth Care logo commemorates the ultimate sacrifice they made. The 6 petals on the logo are dedicated to each life lost. After the Great Depression, Parkerville was on the brink of closure. Up stepped Harry Bone of Bone's Department Stores fame. Contributions through his Employees Social Club and the newly formed Lotteries Commission of Western Australia enabled survival. The appointment of the organisation's first layperson, Owen Howes, in 1947 ended 44 years of management by the sisters. 1952 again saw the organisation fall into financial distress, the departure of Mr Howes and the appointment of Major Jack Wales. The 20-year reign of Major Wales was noted for its rejuvenation of Parkerville facilities and his military style of management. The philosophy of the home was questioned with a recommendation from Major Wales to the board in 1961 that the home would be better used as an aged care facility. This was given formal endorsement by the Committee of Management and put to the annual general meeting. However, support from the Lotteries Commission once more enabled the organisation to continue its mission. Today, the relationship between Lottery West and Parkerville Children and Youth Care is stronger than ever. Bill Couch changed the course of the organisation in the early 70s. Professional staff such as social workers, teachers and psychologists were appointed. Carers were employed to care for children in the campus cottages and trained accordingly. The arrival of David Roberts in 1978 saw a movement towards outreach work, new residential homes built on the campus, and the creation of youth residential services in the community. In 2004, Basil Hanna became the Chief Executive and the organisation's mission and values were formalised. The following year, the name was changed to Parkerville Children and Youth Care. The primary function became assessment, care and the treatment of children and youth who suffered trauma from abuse, repairing the damage done to their brain while actively seeking to educate the community on the issue of abuse.
The services that we provide, they range from out-of-home care, community foster care, workplace education for young people, trauma counselling, child sexual abuse counselling, outreach programs to create awareness. We are working 18 schools throughout the metropolitan area providing early intervention and prevention. We look after children, young people and families right across the metropolitan area and into regional areas.
This enduring legacy of care is a credit to the thousands of staff, volunteers and supporters who've joined Parkerville Children and Youth Care on the journey to combat child abuse. This organisation has never and will never falter in its mission and commitment to the most vulnerable children in our society. As long as they're needed, Parkerville Children and Youth Care will be there.